What is killing Europe? Yes, we all know that Europe is dying. We simply do not want to admit it. We think if we do not look at this fact, or if we do not admit this fact, it won't happen, it won't come. But unfortunately, it has started a long time ago. Excuse me. There are two main things that are killing Europe. The first one is the Europeans, and the second is democracy. We will come back to democracy in a few minutes. The Europeans, we need to stop blaming the governments and the politicians. The politicians are simply giving us what we want so that we can vote for them again, so that they can keep their jobs. And what we want is security. We want to be guaranteed that we will be okay, that we will be taken care of. Excuse me, I've got a dry throat. That we will have a good pension, that we will have a job for life, that our property prices will not go down. And in order for this to happen, we do not like change. We avoid change. But there is a universal law that once something stops changing, it stops growing, which means it starts dying. Not in 1 or 2 days, but Europe has been on this path for decades now. So we need to, as individuals, need to stop being afraid of change. In fact, we need to welcome change, and we also need to stop needing security. We have lost our spark. There is nothing in our eyes. When we travel to places like the Middle East and then come back to Europe, for the first few seconds, the first thing that is noticeable is our lack of spark in our eyes. It's like our soul is no longer in there, because there is nothing new for it to experience. It is simply waiting to die and leave the body. This is what is killing Europe. It's not our policies. So don't focus on something outside of us. Let's focus inside of us. And let's travel to these countries, not in package holidays where you go to a luxury hotel and you stay there, and then from the hotel you go straight to the airport. Let's travel to these countries and look at the people. And ask questions. What is different about this country? I will bring one country in mind because I have lived there for 4 years. Turkey. It is by no means perfect. But are you trying to tell me that Northern Europe is perfect? The unhappiness that exists in Northern Europe doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. So this is not perfection. We need to go back to I'm going to bring up a saying. There's a saying we all know. Necessity is the mother of invention. You see, this necessity is what keeps our souls in our bodies, or fully focused. The soul is trying to see, how will I survive this? What will I do when I need this? We have lost this. We are only focused on holding on. We are clutching at straws, as they say. So this is what's killing Europe. We are, and our needs. We get hired for a job, and the first thing we ask is, what are my benefits? If I get sick, what do you mean if you get sick? Stay healthy. If I get old, so many people do not leave a job to do the business they want to do, because if the business fails, they will not have a pension. Do you really think we came to Earth to die? We came here to live. This is what us Europeans have forgotten. Life. So, if we can focus on life and living again, rather than being secure and dying securely, dying in comfort, if you're going to die, who cares how you're going to die? Because in order to die in comfort, we don't live. Let's go to democracy. In our time, democracy is a farce. It's a joke. It's a lie. Democracy might have worked well, we don't know for sure, might have worked well in ancient Athens, where the population at that time was, I think, around 4,000. Democracy could work very well after we go back to the city-states, because we are going to go back to this. But in the massive populations that we have, democracy does not work very well. And this is another thing that is killing Europe. Everything is over-democratic. You cannot do something unless everybody agrees. And this process could take years. So it's very difficult for us to grow. We have literally killed growth with this thing we call democracy. And the reason we keep mentioning it all the time on television, in the movies, the newspapers, everywhere, is to convince ourselves that this is the best system there is. But it's not. It's also killing us. And if we do find a dictator that is killing people, we use that to say, see, if you don't have democracy, you have this. I'm sorry, but most of the killing around the world is done by democratic governments, both within their countries and outside of their countries. But because they do not show us this on the news, we believe it's only dictators that kill people. So let's go back to what is killing Europe. Again, the politicians are us. They are not something outside of us. So, look inside. Now, Europe is going to collapse. But then again, so is every federation. I don't know if I used the right word. Yes, federation, yes. So, there's no stopping it now. It might also be necessary so that we can be forced to go back to the city-states. Not that the city-states are perfect, But as we have mentioned in other videos, we need to go back to local government. When we are living, let's say, in northern Germany, we do not know what the problems are in southern Germany. And we should not have a right to say how they should fix them. They live hundreds of miles away. This is the reason we need to go back to city governments. It's not just a matter of we need to, that is the future. Let's see if there's anything else killing Europe. A lot of people think that Europe is dying because the Europeans are not having a lot of babies. You know what? Before this decade is over, we would have touched immortality. We will be living hundreds of years. So that is not a problem, not having a lot of babies. Not everyone will go into immortality, because the first thing we need to do is stop complaining and stop worrying about dying comfortably. And some people are so used to talking only about death that they simply won't be able to change these patterns and switch them to talking about life. I'm sure there's a lot more to be said on this, but this is all I'm getting at the moment. It's a sad one, I know, because I really like Europe, but I think I'm still going to close it. I'm going to repeat again. When you go to other places, look at people's eyes. And notice and ask yourself, how come this person's soul is actually residing inside the body? What is it this soul is finding exciting about this person's life? The unknown. This is what the soul is finding exciting. When it doesn't know what it's going to do tomorrow. As for we know what we are going to do till the day we die. So the soul says, okay, I learned from this. Next. But there is no next for us. We get stuck. I will leave it at this.